Hey y'all, it's Missy Dawn here from the Manamal Streaming Radio. I'm talking to the lead singer of the band Babylon Shakes, Chris Clark. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here for us. Now, for all of you lovers of vintage sleaze and dirty rock, you will love Babylon Shakes. With Chris's raspy vocals, the major guitar riffs, and killer bass and drums, you'll be transported back to the late 70s, early 80s, and it's just that good. So, now you guys are no stranger to the music scene. You've been around for a while. Could you give our listeners a little backstory on all of you?
Sure. I know for me, I've been playing music probably since I was 18 or 19, and let's see, I've been in different like metal and sleaze and punk bands ever since. And the last band I was in prior to Babylon Shakes was a band called Last Call Messiahs that were somewhat well known. We released an EP and an album, and we played around regionally and did pretty well. It's it was a little more of kind of a metal, more like Spread Eagle kind of sleaze. And then let's see, the other two guys, Jeff, our drummer, and Gary, our bass player, have been lifelong friends. And the two of those guys played together in a band called Cage for many, many years together. They were pretty well known up and down the East Coast and the Mid-Atlantic area. They were kind of a mix of originals and covers. And so when I met those two guys, they were already just this monster rhythm section. And once we got in a room together, it was just amazing. So we sort of hit it off immediately and caught fire.
That's great. You would definitely have a magical combination there for sure. Mm-hmm. Now, I was wondering who are some of your musical influences. I definitely hear a nod to Faster Pussycat. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, which I love. Just can you shed some light on some of the people that you've grown up listening to?
I started, I think, one of my first really vivid memories when I was probably 12 or 13. I saw Hanoi Rocks on, it wasn't MTV, it was like a local video show in here in North Carolina. I think it was a station out of Greensboro, and they played Around the Bend, the video that they had for that. And when I saw Michael Monroe and Andy McCoy in this one scene jump out of a helicopter, and they looked the way they looked with the big hair and the gypsy jewelry and earrings, it just blew my mind. I thought that was the coolest thing I had ever seen and heard. And I knew the song from CCR, which I'd always loved, but I'd never heard it quite like that. So I was immediately a huge Hanoi Rocks fan. And also at the same time, of course, Motley Crue were becoming really, really big. And, to me, it sort of looked like Hanoi had started the whole thing, and then Motley kind of adopted that look, but made things a little bit heavier. So, yeah, Hanoi, the Crue, Faster Pussycat, Guns N' Roses, I thought were incredible. Only later, just within the past 10 years, did I really kind of go back and start getting into the guys that influenced those bands, like early Aerosmith and the Stones. I know Jeff and I are on a huge Stones kick now. We go back and listen to everything they've ever done, and you start to hear what Keith and Mick were writing and how it's really just stayed in rock and roll all throughout history. So, yeah, I started in the 80s, and now I'm kind of drifting back to the 70s as far as influences go. And Faster Pussycat too. I love them. Really love them.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. Everyone you spoke of are great.
Yeah.
Now, I read somewhere that at one point in time you had a higher range and clean vocals. When did that all change?
Probably 15, 20 some odd years ago. I had more of like a Vince Neil, kind of a higher, cleaner range, and like a lot of my friends, I started smoking, and I was a pretty heavy smoker for probably 8 or 9 years, and I think the combination of that and just getting a little bit older, all of a sudden, your voice changes and you get a little raspier. And I think when I started Last Call Messiahs, we were going to do some like crew covers, and all of a sudden I would step up to the mic and my voice wasn't quite as high as it was a few years ago, and it was a little scratchier. So all of a sudden, it kind of had this tame me down kind of Bon Scott thing going on. But I'm really happy with it. I'm pleased with it. It's not. I wish I could hit some of the higher ranges, but it's got characters.
While we're on the smoking, I usually wait for the end of the calls or the end of the interviews to ask the questions that I've picked up from a couple of the fans. One gentleman asked me to ask you if you smoked, and asked what brand you smoke, because he wants to know how he can get your raspy voice.
I quit. Oh my gosh, it's been a very long time. Probably, I don't know. It'd have to be like maybe 17 years ago. But when I was, it was Camel Light. Yeah, Camel Lights. That was my brand.
I thought that was a pretty interesting question. I'd never heard of that. Anybody asked that, but but if you want to be like you. Now I've been listening to Exile to the Velveteen Lounge a lot over the last few weeks, and I really have to say, beginning to end, it's pure badass. Who does the songwriting, and what is your songwriting process?
I do most of it. What I'll do is just kind of jam at home. Just get in my. I've got a room upstairs. I'll just get in there with my guitars and it's kind of like a stream of consciousness thing. I'll just start playing and I'll get riff ideas. Sometimes I'll record them, listen to them in the car on the way to work, and you start formulating ideas about songs. Sometimes it's a phrase you hear that might become a chorus. And then what I'll do is I'll just kind of put all that together and have a song idea. And then I'll do a rough demo and I'll send it to the guys. Then we'll get together and jam and just kind of put it all together and refine it. We're going to start. As we get a lot more along in this thing, we're going to spend a lot more time just kind of together in one room jamming and see what comes out of that.
Well, let's talk Velveteen Libertine. Can you share with our listeners what this song is about?
It's really about a girl who thinks she's better than everybody else, who kind of walks around, sort of putting on airs, but yet she's really just a party girl, and she's in relationships for the money and what she can get out of it. Just kind of a gold digger sort of a person. And that whole song came about because I was trying to play Chip Away at the Stone by Aerosmith, which is a kind of similar chord progression. And I couldn't quite get it right, but that particular rhythm and chord progression stuck with me. And I had like the first line of that song, when your garden, I bet your garden of soul sure gets lonely. And I sang that to that, and it just took off. I wrote it in, maybe 10 minutes or something.
I like when bands or musicians can write something that's so profound in such a short amount of time. And then I come to realize after this journey, starting with this radio station, with the people that I talk to, the people that have been in the business for a long time have that down pat now. That's just something they sit down, they've done it long enough, and voila, there it is. So kudos to you for that. That's great.
Thank you.
Now, if you had to pick a song off of this EP, which would you say captures the essence of the band?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably, and this my answer will probably change next week, but I would say right now, Motel Lights, because it's just so rough and sleazy, bluesy. It's about life on the road and playing shows and just getting by the skin of your teeth and robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of thing. And that's kind of where we are right now.
Now, would that be your favorite song also? I like Die Pretty. I love everything on that EP, but Die Pretty is like my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think and again, like I said, it changes from week to week for me. Sunset Striptease has kind of been like my go-to when I want to, if I want to practice singing or I just want to hear what we've done. I'll always go to that song first. I just love just kind of the bluesy anthemness of that song.
Now, if people want to buy this, where can they get it? The EP.
If you want to buy it online, it's available. Let's see, all the major markets. It's on iTunes, and you can buy it on Spotify as well, Amazon. Or if you want a physical copy, you can buy it from our Square store, which I think is squareup.com/Babylon Shakes.
Okay. We'll make sure we get that noted when we put the interview out there. Now, back in the day when MTV was cool and played videos, bands were pretty easily promoted. Not so much now. So what are ways you promote Babylon Shakes?
Probably social media is really is huge. We do a lot primarily on Facebook, a little bit more on Instagram. That's really the major scope of it. We also we have a lot of good friends in the Maryland area. There's actually a group called Ignite the Scene that are a group of people who are really passionate about local and regional music, and they also promote us on social media and a lot of other great bands. So we're really fortunate to have so many good people around us, just kind of spreading the word.
Now, what has been your biggest challenge as a band?
Probably for us, we all live I live 3.5 hours away from Gary, our bass player, and that's where we get together and practice. So we have to really sort of work out. We have Google calendars we share all the time, and we're working out rehearsal dates and recording dates. That's been it's so much fun when we get together and we get a lot done, but it's kind of we have to really work it out and make the most of those times because it's rare we can do that. So that's definitely been a challenge, but it's really so worth it to do that. Playing shows has been really. It hasn't been much of a challenge at all for us. We get a lot of great offers, and again, we have a lot of great friends and people behind us supporting us. And now we've got Highball behind us, so that's really been a big push as well.
Now, do you have any upcoming shows you could share with us?
Yeah, we're playing here in Raleigh, North Carolina, Saturday night with Hick and Valentina. Artist called Lauren Nicole, who's a great singer-songwriter. Another band called Haven, who are almost like Steel Panther. They play a lot of cool Kiss covers, and they've got some good originals. So it should be a great show. And that's this Saturday night, the 16th, at the Maywood in Raleigh.
I wish I was closer. I'd be there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Now, if I was to turn on your iPod or Spotify playlist, who would I see in your top 5 list?
Oh, gosh, that's funny because I was just doing that today, making a new playlist. Social Distortion, Rod Stewart, some friends of ours called Lady Diesel, who are a new band out of New Jersey, are really good. Let's see, the Rolling Stones, and what else did I have on there recently? Oh, Michael Monroe. Yeah.
Nice. Great list. great list for sure. Now, I always, like I said earlier, I like to ask a couple of questions from fans. And Karen would like to know who your favorite superhero is.
Oh gosh, yeah, I was a comic book nerd for a long time. I go back to really weird stuff, probably like either Doctor Strange or Son of Satan. I always loved Son of Satan. That was a creepy, weird, occultic comic book. I would say Son of Satan.
Now, if you had a chance to go back in time to your younger self, what would you tell yourself to prepare you for the future in music?
Just absolutely stay true to your vision of what you love and want to play. I think a lot of people, and myself included, when I was younger, you see other people being successful, and there are other trends that are going on out there. So you kind of, in order to fit the mold, maybe you give up some of your convictions to do that. And I would say just absolutely, if you want to dress like a vagabond gypsy and play bluesy punky guitar, then that's your thing. Go do it. Don't try and be thrash metal if you're totally into sleaze and glam. Stick to your guns.
That's great advice. That's great advice for anything and everybody. So that's now. Do any of you come from musical backgrounds, family?
I know. Actually, Gary's father is a bass player, and I believe he played in like older country bands. My family, my grandmother on my father's side was an artist. She was a painter, but no real musical pedigree.
Okay. I always ask bands for their craziest fan stories. Do you have any? That's my personal question. I love them.
Gosh. Nothing really good that would even rival anything out of the dirt. I'm afraid not yet, at least. We just have we have a couple of people that have come to see us play that really want everything. Like they want a guitar pick from each of us. They want to use drumstick. They want a drum head. They just want every single thing, and there's just a couple of people that do that. That's really the only kind of, and that's not really, that's more passionate than odd, I guess. But time will tell.
What instruments can you play, or do you play?
Guitar, bass. I found out I could play ukulele last year at the beach. And that's really about it. Yeah.
What about the other guys? Do they have different musical instruments they play?
Gary can play a little bit of keyboard. Jeff, I don't know. He can play any variety of percussion, maracas, tambourine, just about anything rhythmic.
Now here's another question I really like to ask. If you had the chance to collaborate with any person, dead or alive, who would you pick and why?
Oh gosh, I would say like Joe Perry. I would love to work with him. I love how he's just a real honest and true player. He wears his influences on his sleeves. He's a great riff writer, got a good sense of melody. I love everything Aerosmith have ever done. I think it'd be really fun to collaborate with him. Just take some like songwriting ideas I've got and see what he can come up with on guitar.
And do you guys have anything up and coming that you could tell us about?
Let's see, we have this show coming up Saturday, the 16th at the Maywood in Raleigh. Then after that, we are playing in Lynchburg, Virginia at Phase 2 with some good friends of ours called Last Night's Villain.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, they're great guys.
Andy's a great guy. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's sort of a kind of a regional showcase there. And then, let's see, we've got a really big show in September 22nd at the Sparta Inn in Sparrows Point, Maryland. And it's a combination of, with Bradley and Bobby Hammer, who are both promoters. This thing's called Saturday's Main Event. And it's kind of set up like a wrestling event. You've got like 6 bands, each one kind of going up against each other. And it's us, Streetlight Circus, Last Night's Villain, a band called 13 Stitches, Taboo Tattoo. My memory is really escaping me, and I made the posters, and that's really bad. But yeah, September 22nd that's gonna be a really good show.
Well, I hope the people that get out to see it get lots of pictures for me because I'm too far away. But I will one day get there.
Okay. Okay.
Now, is there anything you'd like to share with your fans or our listeners that we might not have covered today in this interview?
Other than, let's see, we are, of course, the Exile from the Velveteen Lounge we put out back in April, and we are also planning on, we have 5 other songs, maybe 6 ready to go. We are shooting for like a late October release for volume 2 of that with all new material. So that's kind of going on as well this summer, and that'll be released through Highball Music, and then we'll have a full-length record that we're going to start working on, and that'll be released sometime in 2019.
Oh, looking forward to that for sure. For sure. Now, you've talked to my partner, Suze, and she's a huge fan as well. Could you just throw a shout out to her? She'd be so thrilled.
Hi, Suze. Hate you missed M3. It was a blast.
She told me about that. She said
we gave her a hard time about that.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time